Hey, good evening, ladies, gentlemen, theys, and gays. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. Hope you're having a great night, day, weekend, whenever you're checking this out. Um, oh God, what is today? That is one thing I will say about not having a job right now is that it's been it's been kind of funny how like time is just so much less of a thing. It's like, oh yeah, I don't really have shit to do tomorrow except for play with my cats and go for a walk and apply for jobs. So my days are running the fuck together. But happy Thursday. There we go. Because tonight was the NFL draft. So I'm gonna talk about the draft a little bit. I'm gonna talk about AEW Dynasty, which was this past Sunday. A show that, outside of a few nitpicks, is I am gonna have to at some point. Maybe I'll do this next month. I am gonna end up having to go through and like rank my top five AEW AEW pay-per-views. That would be a fun stream. But um since I have been, job hunting and stuff, the streaming schedule has been all over the place. I am going to get to the theater at some point next weekend and at least check out Challengers, the News and Daya film. I do want to check that out. I do want to watch that. Definitely I'm going to check that out. And then I'll probably check out, what's that other film? Um, the new Skarsgård film, the Boy Kills movie. Check that one out. So some stuff I'm definitely gonna be checking out here in the next week or two. I am gonna have a review up next week for Rebel Moon Part 2, which, God help me, I don't want to fucking watch that. But I said I'd review it, so I'm gonna review it, and then I am gonna go ahead and got some other stuff coming down the pipeline for y'all. But let's start the NFL draft. Let's start there, just because there was a lot. There was a lot that happened. As far as where to start, um, oh my gosh, I am just losing my train of thought already. But the Chicago Bears, they went ahead and had the number one overall pick. Thanks to my Carolina Panthers, who traded multiple picks to go ahead and get Bryce Young, which, oh man, it's only been one season, but considering how CJ Stroud has looked versus Bryce Young, granted, CJ Stroud has way more weapons and a much better team that he's playing on right now than my Panthers are currently set up right now. So, I'm not ready to throw in the towel on Bryce Young. It's been one fucking season. But it's not looking great if we're going just based off this past season. But the Chicago Bears went ahead and had the number one overall pick. They went ahead and they traded Justin Fields, their former franchise quarterback. They went ahead and traded him to the Steelers. So he's now over in Pittsburgh. And so everyone their mom knew that the Bears were going to draft a quarterback. And pretty much, if you ask 100 people, 99 of them would have told you that it was going to be Caleb Williams. Like, Caleb Williams was going to Caleb Williams was going there, going to Chicago. That's exactly what happened. Caleb Williams, number one overall pick, goes ahead and goes to Chicago. I think that's a very good pick. I think that I think what's interesting about it too is that they have a very unique opportunity in Chicago. The thing about Chicago is that they just really seem to fuck up every quarterback they fucking draft. Like, they've never had like that quarterback. They've never had a Brett Favre. They've never had oh yeah, fuck Brett Favre, by the way, but they've never had like a Brett Favre. They've never had Dan Marino. They've never had they've never had a Mahomes or a Burrow. They've never had that upper echelon quarterback. So I was curious. I was curious if they're actually gonna, it's gonna be interesting to see if they actually, what they can do with Caleb Williams. They have Caleb Williams set up for success as far as the players they have. They've got DeAndre Swift at running back. They still have Khalil Herbert. They've got DJ Moore. They've got Keenan Allen there now. They've got Cole Kmet. Like they have people like they do have some players. Like so, I'm not gonna sit here and say that the Bears are going to be bad this season. I think the Bears are actually going to be better than people probably think. Now, they are in the they're in the NFC, so they got to go ahead and deal with Green Bay and Detroit and so they got to deal with Minnesota too. But I think just on paper, they're probably the third best team in the conference in the division right now. I would say in the NFC North because Detroit. They've got Jared Goff still. They've got David Montgomery. They've got Aiden Hutchinson. They've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Sun God, who they just re-signed to a 4-year deal, I believe. They've got players over in Detroit. I don't and they've got Dan Campbell, who those players would run through a fucking wall for Dan Campbell. So I don't see a world where Detroit falls off significantly. I think Detroit's going to be in a very good spot moving forward. And, the NFC has been so intense as far as like San Francisco is, San Francisco is like the cream of the crop when it comes to NFC. But they've got some decisions they're going to have to make. Brandon Ayuk is unhappy. Debo might want out. So, I mean, the path there for San Francisco, it's not going to be as easy as it was this past season. I think Detroit is going to get better. I think Detroit's going to be more focused after that heartbreaking loss in the NFC Championship game. I just think they've got something to prove. So I think Detroit, especially just come out of this division, I think it's going to be very formidable, and I think they've got a lot to say. At the same time, though, Green Bay got better. They got Josh Jacobs, who I think is a mass improvement. Jordan Love has another year, which was essentially his rookie year this past season. This was the first time he was a full-time starter. So I think, I don't know. I think the division is going to be very competitive, very interesting, and Caleb Williams is going to have to learn quick. In that first game in Foxborough, or not in Foxborough, at Lambeau. That's going to be a rough ass game for his ass. I think that's going to be very telling to see how he handles that pressure. But yeah, I mean, I think most people expected this pick, so makes sense. Good for him. I'm curious to see how he goes ahead and plays. So, but yeah, that'll be interesting to see. The Washington Commanders, they're up at number 2. They went ahead and they took Jaden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. I've followed his career a little bit. I really like him. I really like Jaden Daniels. I think he's a great playmaker. I do wish he would, and I've already seen some people kind of drawing RG3 comparisons to him. I hope that's not the case in the sense of how he protects himself, because that is my biggest kind of axe to grind with him. I think he allows himself to take too many unnecessary hits. I wish he would slide more, and I think the NFL is going to teach him that kind of quick, that he's going to need to learn how to slide and actually protect himself or get out of bounds. But he's a playmaker and he can extend plays, and the Commanders really haven't had that. And with Magic Johnson and the new ownership brass, I think that's a really great pick for them. They've got Austin Eckler there, who they got from the Chargers. They've got Jahan Dotson. They've got I blank on his name, Terry McLaurin at receiver. Like, they've got some weapons over there. So I do, and Dan Quinn, their new head coach. So pardon me. So I don't know. I think that's a very good pick for them. I know some people would say that Drake May is better than Jaden Daniels. I personally don't agree with that. I think that Daniels is just more of a playmaker, And I like the way he's able to extend plays a little more than I like Drake May. But I do like Drake May quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to see how these three quarterbacks kind of shake out. But again, another like a really good pick. I like that pick for the Commanders. Sam Howell was never going to be that dude. Like, he was very nice as a someone to kind of get you excited for fantasy, but he was never going to be a guy I think that could help you win games, make plays in the clutch. I think Daniels can be that guy. I do think they need to obviously get maybe get I can't even think who their tight end is at this point. But I think it would behoove them to get like a pass receiving type tight end. I know the Raiders have a couple now because they've got Michael Mayer and they just drafted a tight end, but someone like a Michael Mayer type I think would actually benefit him really well. But moving on to number 3, and I'm going to just go through another couple picks because I'm already kind of bored of this. But the New England Patriots, they went ahead and took Drake May out of North Carolina. He's a very athletic dude. My one thing with him is that I think that he tries to extend plays so much that that sometimes he definitely gets himself sacked and in trouble just because he's trying to extend the play for too long. I think it's a fine balance between trying to extend the play and realizing that, oh crap, there's nothing here, I need to just take the L. It's a fine line. So I do think that he's going to have to be careful of that, especially in the pros, because there will be a lot less room for error in that sense than there is at the college level. But yeah, I think that's a good pick for New England. He definitely plays. I know, I know a lot of people are going to kind of go like, oh, next Tom Brady. I mean, don't put that on him. Let this motherfucker, fuck up and try and figure it out. But I mean, he's 6'4", 223. He's a big dude. Very athletic build, can clearly run better than Tom Brady. That's one thing you can definitely say. But it'll be interesting to see how he works in the system. The thing about the Patriots is I can't think of one like pass catcher they have. I mean, I know they've got what's his name? Ramondre Stevenson still at running back, but I'm actually going to look up the Patriots roster right now because I cannot think of who they actually have at receiver. I'm actually blanking. Let me see. So they've got a guy named Demario Douglas. Okay. They've got Kendrick Bourne. Oh yeah, I forgot about Kendrick Bourne. They've got Kayshawn Beauty. Let's see. Kwan Baker. Oh my gosh, is that it? Oh yeah, they have Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper at tight end. I really like Hunter Henry as a tight end, the former Charger. He's actually a pretty good tight end. They've got TJ Luther. Yeah, so they've got they got KJ Osborne. Okay. So actually KJ Osborne, the former Minnesota Viking, that could actually be a fun connection. Oh yeah, and they do have Juju Smith-Schuster. So they've got like one or two people I'd kind of go, "Oh, cool." But like they don't have a true number one receiver. So definitely something they need to work on. They want to go ahead and set him up for success. But overall, though, I mean, not a bad pick for the not a bad pick at all for the Patriots. But just you got to get him some help. So I wouldn't be surprised if day 2 you see them take a receiver. They might do it back to back, but we'll see. I'm just gonna go through another couple picks, and then I'm gonna get to Dynasty because I actually want to talk about Dynasty more. The Cardinals got Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver out of Ohio State. I'm actually proud of the Cardinals for not fucking around because I really thought they're gonna trade back and try to get someone else. Pardon me, but they resisted temptation. They actually went ahead and did what I thought was a very smart thing. They went ahead and got someone that can go ahead and break out. I really think he's probably the best receiver prospect, probably since Megatron, just based on his size and his speed. I mean, he's 6'3", 209. Like, he's a big dude, especially at receiver, but the way he moves, he's so fucking athletic. So Kyler Murray needed a true number one. He's got one now. No excuses if you're Kyler at this point. Like, you've got your dude. Now you got to go make it happen. So the Cardinals could be fun to watch next year. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna set the world on fire, but they could be a very fun team to watch. The Chargers went ahead and took Joe Alt, offensive tackle on Notre Dame. Honestly, I know it's not a sexy pick. Tackles rarely are. And considering how very barren the wide receiver room is at this point, I'm a little surprised they didn't go receiver here. But you got to protect Justin Herbert, so I get it. But they need to make some moves in the next couple days to try to get a receiver. Now, I will say the receiver class is pretty deep, so they might be able to get someone out of the second round that might be a bit of a diamond in the rough. So it'll be interesting to see where they kind of go, but I think that's a great pick as far as protecting Herbert, which they definitely need to do. Moving on to number 6. I'm going to just go through probably the first 10 picks here. Number 6, the Giants took Malik Neighbors, wide receiver out of LSU. He's amazing. He is just like, he's a dynamo, just straight out the box. Absolutely love his game. Last season, he went for 1,569 yards and 14 touchdowns. I mean, the brother can play. So I'm excited. I'm real excited for him to go there. Daniel Jones, the Giants are only on the hook for one more year of his salary, and then they can cut him, I believe, with no penalty. So I know the Giants. I think the Giants are looking ahead to next year to go, okay, we can get our quarterback of the future there, whether we, trade for someone or whether we draft someone. Honestly, depending on how things shake out with Justin Fields, because the Steelers have said they're not going to pick up his option. Justin Fields in New York, I know New York is a brutal town, especially when it comes to, the press, but Justin Fields could be an option, potentially. I don't know what the quarterback class will look like next year, but he could be an option for them. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. But great pick for the Giants. They needed a number one. They got their dude. So Tennessee Titans, they took J.C. Latham out of offensive tackle off Alabama. A good pick. I would say a good pick. Wasn't they've got to protect Will Levis. They're clearly buying into the Will Levis experience. And so I think you can always work on making sure that your quarterback is more protected. So I'm not mad at this pick at all. Moving on to number 8. So this is the pick that, I'll be honest, broke my brain in a way that I kind of stopped paying attention for like an hour. So the Atlanta Falcons, who just, let me repeat that, just went ahead and signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal. They just went ahead and signed Kirk Cousins. And they draft Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. Why the fuck did they do that? It makes no sense. And I've seen people trying to spin it and defend it. It makes no sense because you don't spend this much draft capital on a fucking quarterback when you just paid a guy almost $200 million goddamn dollars. And here's why it's even more insane. So Penix is going to be 24 as a rookie, right? So let's just say he just sits behind Cousins all 4 years, which at this point, that feels like the only fucking option. So if he sits behind him for 4 years, he's going to be 28 as a rookie, like as when he finally takes over the offense. That's kind of insane. So I'm going to be honest, I don't see this pick sticking. I think there will be a trade, whether it's now or during training camp. Like, he will get traded. I think he'll get traded. I think the I think the Falcons, because Kirk Cousins apparently was shocked by the pick. Um, it doesn't make any sense to me. It, I I just don't I don't get it. I think it's the worst pick. It's one of the worst picks I've seen in the draft ever, and I've been watching the draft since my 20s, and I don't fucking understand this because there's nothing to understand. It was a boneheaded fucking decision, and yeah, so that pick just here's why it's even worse because at number 9, because the Bears had 2 picks in the first, they went ahead and took Rome Adonze out of Washington, who's awesome. Like he's such a natural athlete. Um, that's a great pickup for Caleb Williams, but outside of what's his name? I mean, you have Kyle Pitts in Atlanta, but you barely fucking throw the ball to him. You have oh my gosh, why can't I think of that brother's name? Not Desmond Ritter. Um Drake London. There we go. You have Drake London as a receiver, but he hasn't proven that he can be a number one. So it would have been really nice if they had taken, a receiver or could have gotten some edge help, could have taken Dallas Turner. But no, they went ahead and took a quarterback. It makes no fucking sense. Yeah, so dumb, dumb, dumb. If you're a Falcons fan, I'm sorry. I don't understand why they did this to y'all, but yeah, just absolutely insane. So I don't know, but so and then the last pick I will say that actually does have me excited just for Justin Jefferson because I'm a fan of his. The Vikings went ahead and traded up via the Jets pick, and they got JJ McCarthy out of Michigan. So McCarthy gets a perfect situation, honestly. I mean, he's 6'3", 219, excellent throwing motion, quick release, has great arm strength, can be mobile when he needs to be. I'm excited. I'm actually real excited to see what this dude could do. Plus, you show Justin Jefferson that you're willing to take a guy who could legit be, who is going to be the future of your franchise. Justin Jefferson, how old is Justin? I think Justin Jefferson, I think it's like 25. I think he's 25, 24, pardon me. So he'll be 25 by the time the season starts. His birthday is June 16th. Oh, fell June, baby. Let's go. So I do like that pick a lot, but also on the back end for McCarthy, he gets Justin Jefferson, he gets Jordan Addison, he gets TJ Hawkinson. Like he's gonna get some really good training and some really great coaching. Kevin O'Connell has proven that he can be a really great coach, and then he's got quarterbacks coach Josh McCown, former Arizona Cardinal, who's definitely put his reps in that he'll be under the learning tree of. So that's I love the pick from Minnesota. It feels like they actually have someone that can help lead them moving forward. So it'll be very interesting. It'll be very interesting to see how it goes. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see this upcoming season. I'm a huge football nerd just because I love fantasy. Like I've gotten way more into fantasy than I ever thought I would, which has yielded its own its own separate issues. But I'm excited about this football season. Yeah, it's going to be fun. But yeah, those are just some of my thoughts on the draft. So now I'm going to take a quick break and go replenish my drink. And I will be right back. And I will be right back with my thoughts on AEW Dynasty. I will see y'all in about 3 minutes. And we're back. All right, y'all. So, AEW Dynasty, AEW's first AEW Dynasty pay per view, went ahead and was at St. Louis, Missouri, this past Sunday. Um, I was really excited for this show. There were several matches I was hyped for, but I will run those down as we go through. But the matches as follows. This was the card. We had Orange Cassidy and Katsuyori Shibata versus Shane Taylor Promotions, made up of Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. We had Matt Sydal versus Trent Beretta, and then we had a trios unification match. The AEW World Trios Champions, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, versus the Ring of Honor World Trios Champions, Bullet Club Gold, Jay White and the Guns. So those were the 0 hour, like their pre-show. Those were the pre-show matches. And then on the main card, we had Adam Copeland, Mark Briscoe, Eddie Kingston versus the House of Black. We had the FTW Championship match, Hook versus Jericho. AEW International Championship match, Kyle O'Reilly versus Roderick Strong. AEW Continental Championship, Pac versus Kazuchika Okada. Ladder match for the AEW World Tag Titles, FTR versus the Young Bucks. TBS Championship match, Will Nightingale versus Julia Hart. AEW Women's Championship match, Thunder Rosa versus Timeless Tony Storm. AEW World Championship match, Swerve Strickland versus Samoa Joe, and then Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson in a dream match. So Trent Beretta just went ahead and turned heel on Orange Cassidy a couple weeks ago. Him and Orange Cassidy were in the AEW tag team tournament. They went ahead and lost to our EVPs, the Young Bucks, went ahead and lost to them. I thought what was a really good match. So this was all about Trent's kind of new heel persona, his bad guy persona, getting that over. I thought Beretta and Sydal put on a solid match. Went ahead and ended up winning with the Storm Zero. Rating wise, I'd give it a C plus. I thought this was a good match. Not great wrestling, not shit wrestling, but just good wrestling. Doesn't always need to be over the moon, but that was a solid match. So I'd give it a C plus. Moving on. So I did. So I'll give my ratings and then like who I picked as well. So Orange Cassidy and Katsuyori Shibata took on Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. I really like Shane Taylor Promotions a lot. I like Shane Taylor with Lee Moriarty, Tiger Style, Lee Moriarty, and Anthony Ogogo, who just came back, the governor. I like them as a stable. I had them picked to win this match, and I will admit I'm a little agitated just because I think if you have certain people lose too much, at some point people kind of go, whatever. But this was kind of the case here. I thought they should have had. Shane Taylor Promotions win, but Orange Cassidy ended up winning off the Orange Punch to Lee Moriarty. Absolutely dropped him with it. It was a great looking shot. But I just like Orange Cassidy has won so much. And I think you could have had Trent come out on the stage, come out on the ramp, maybe distract Orange Cassidy and give Shane Taylor Promotions the win. They didn't. I was a little bummed by that. So, but unfortunately, So, but still a really good match. I'd give a solid B minus. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Title for titles, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass versus the Bang Bang Gang. So, here's the thing. I am a fan of the Acclaimed. I am a fan of Anthony Bowens. I think his representation for the LGBTQ community alone is incredibly important. He's a great Instagram follow too. Like pictures of him and his partner. He just seems like a good dude. And I've seen some interviews with him, and I think he's very appreciative of the Wow, man, I'm not wrong with my words tonight. I've been smoking a little, but he's very grateful for the position he's in. He's grateful for success he's had in AEW. He's become a much better wrestler. He's become a much better striker. If you ever talk wrestling with me, I'm a big fan of people who make the strikes look good, and Anthony Bowens is great at looking at as making his strikes look great. Um, the real frustrating thing is that I don't know what it is, but the Acclaimed have just been better chasing titles as far as defending them. When they beat the House of Black, so they beat them, what would that have been, last August? So, oh my God, have they had the titles that long? Has it been that long that they've had them? Wait. Oh my gosh, I think they have had them that long. So wait, is that August? So that's September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So they've had the belts like 8 months, I think. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a long ass reign. And here's the thing for me, as someone who's been watching wrestling for years, I don't think any title reign. It's very rare. Pardon me. It's very rare that you have a title reign that I think needs to be over 6 months. I think 6 months is kind of the sweet spot because I think you can do a lot with a title reign in 6 months, but then you don't have people getting tired of you at 6 months. 8 months is pushing it. I think a year-long title reign, I think should only be done in the rarest of circumstances, which is why the Roman Reigns shit was just draining me 2 years in. Even MJF, and I'm a huge fan of the Devil. I'm a huge fan of MJF, and even his title reign, about 6 months in, I was like, okay, it's like I kind of want to see you drop this. Pardon me, but I'm really happy for Jay White and for Austin and Colton Gunn. I will be the first to admit I was not a fan of the Guns. Like I was just like, oh, nepo babies. Like their dad's in here. Of course they have a job, but they have put in the fucking work to become a better tag team, to become better heels, to know how to work the crowd. Like I am proud to admit that I was wrong about the Guns. They have been excellent since hooking up with Jay White. They've really come across like stars. I know some people are like, oh, the trios titles are beneath Jay White. You can't have everyone fighting for the championship. I think Jay White's definitely going to get there. You don't have to be like, it doesn't have to be exclusive. Like he can be a trios champion and still have singles matches and work his way up the singles ladder. But I really like Jay White. I'm very happy that he got the pin on Billy Gunn, Daddy Ass, considering a couple weeks ago he couldn't beat him in a one-on-one match, which I will say, as much as I love AEW, that royally pissed me off. I thought it was completely fucking unnecessary, and it made Jay White look weak. But I'm happy he was able to get the win back here and show some dominance. So very happy for Bullet Club Gold. We don't have a new trio, like a unified trios design yet. So it looks like they're going to be carrying around a couple sets of titles for a little while. Not crazy about that, but yeah. So let's get those unified titles. Let's get a unified title design. With that said, and I know some people think AEW has too many titles. I personally think that between Ring of Honor and AEW, I think it works fine. But since you're unifying the 6-man titles, the women need tag team championships. The women have the AEW Women's Championship, and then they have the TBS Championship. I think women's tag titles are the last thing you need to add to the plate because there are so many women on that roster. You've got Nyla Rose, you've got Abaddon, you've got oh my gosh, you've got like Red Velvet, you've got Kiera Hogan, you have oh my gosh, I'm blanking, but you've got Julia Hart, you've got Sky Blue, you've got Penelope Ford. Like you've got women who should be wrestling in higher profile matches. That has been my big axe to grind with AEW, has been their lack of commitment to the women's division. It's been very start stop, but it feels like they're like the last 6 months, especially, like they've really turned a corner and have been showcasing the women more. So I'm really excited to see where they go. But if I'm Tony Khan, I'm booking a tournament, maybe start it mid-June, and then you have the tournament end at Wembley, at All In. Go ahead and crown your women's champions overseas. I think that'd be awesome. But yeah, really solid match for the trios titles. I'd give it a B minus personally. I enjoyed the match. But okay, moving on to the main card, we had the AEW Continental Championship. We had Pac versus Kazuchika Okada. Okada has only been in AEW for like a month, and he's such a fucking star. If you're not a New Japan nerd, you may not be familiar with the Rainmaker, but Okada the brother is just special. He carries himself like a star. He feels like a star. His presentation comes across like a star. He's got one of the best drop kicks in the industry. Absolutely love Okada. And Pac, he's been dealing with travel issue or visa issues and some injuries, but we finally got Pac back, and so this was the perfect match to go ahead and start this show. And I will say, my God, they gave them about 30 minutes, and if you told me this was your favorite match of the night, outside of one match, I wouldn't be mad at you. But they just had some amazing moments here. One moment in particular, Okada went to go make it rain, do his Rainmaker pose, and instead he flipped off the camera. That was fucking wonderful. It caught me so off guard, and I actually had to pause and just laugh and cheer and clap. I was like, oh, that's fucking great. I love the fact they brought in Okada to be a heel, to be a bad guy. Because bringing him in as a face, yeah, could you have done that? Sure. But having him team up with the Elite and just be this, like, not even chicken shit heel, because the brother obviously knows what he's doing, but I love the way that they're presenting Okada. He feels dangerous. He beat Eddie Kingston, like his first one-on-one match for the Continental Championship. Belts just look great on Okada. That's another thing, but I love this. I love this match. Pac went for the Black Arrow twice. Once he missed it, landed right on his stomach. On those ripped abs. I mean, what? But it landed right on the stomach, sold it like death. And then where it looked like he might have hit it, and I'll be the first to admit, they actually had me on this. Pac went ahead and got Okada down, went for the Black Arrow again at the very last second, maybe like right before he's about to hit, maybe a second difference. Okada went ahead and got the knees up and hit Pac right in the face. And the way he sold it, oh my God, it looked like he sold it like death. Okada did a great job. My cat just jumped at me. That's why I made that random reaction. But Okada went ahead and sold that like Pac sold that like death. Got the knees up, picked Pac up, hit the Rainmaker. 1, 2, 3. Okada retains. An absolute banger. And honestly, this match, I mean, we're not halfway through the year yet, so this could obviously change, but this might end up on my top 10 favorite matches of the year. Like, this was an excellent fucking opener, and the crowd was absolutely hyped for it. Yeah, absolutely adored this match. You know what, y'all? I'm sorry. I'm like sitting here and I'm getting tired. So I'm gonna go ahead on Saturday morning. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up for tonight. But I am gonna hop back on Saturday morning. I will let y'all know when. I'll update my Twitch and all that. But I'm gonna hop off here. But I'll hop back on Saturday morning for part 2 to go ahead and finish up my thoughts on AEW Dynasty. And then I'm gonna talk about AEW Dynamite from this past week because some shit went down. I'm sure most of you already know, but I will hop on Saturday morning to go ahead and talk about that. But everyone, thanks so much for watching. I know I just got motivated to do a random evening stream, but thanks so much for listening, y'all. And I will talk to y'all on Sunday morning. Never forget, as always, to keep it real. Have a good night.